Okie dokie. So, hey everybody, and welcome to Small Biz Made Easy. So we've got one of our first teleseminars running today, which is basically on how to have more clients beating a path to your door. So one of the first things that I just wanted to let you guys know is that in my conversations with a lot of business owners, one of the major struggles or the major frustrations that they have is actually trying to figure out how they can get more clients. And I know that trying to set up your new business and trying to actually start to implement some strategies that's going to help you can sometimes be a little bit uncomfortable, if not uncomfortable, pretty bloody difficult to do. So what I might want to do first and foremost is just to get you to have a bit of a think and jot down some ideas about what your biggest frustrations are first and foremost, so I can make sure that the information that you get today is really going to help meet a need that you have right now. So if you can just take a couple of minutes and just jot down some of the major frustrations that you have and just plug it into the message section, I can see what we need to deal with today. Cool. So I'll just wait for some to come through yet. Cool. Haven't got any frustrations just yet. That's very cool. Got down how to actually get more clients. And some of the other frustrations that I know in speaking to some of the coaches, but also a lot of business owners, whether it's restaurateurs or whether it's people starting their own individual businesses out, is how to actually start to make themselves a little bit different from what their competitors are actually doing. So if it's all right, I might start to give you some content now that might be really useful. So one of the things that I want to do is flick through here, and the first things that I'd love to be able to do for you is actually show you how to double your database in 90 days. And like it says there, it's with Ilse from Small Business Made Easy. So before we go into giving you some of the content and some of the tools that you can actually use to increase your database, but very specifically try and double your database in 90 days, I want to just give you a little bit of a background on what the type of marketing strategies is that we use. So with my clients, I use a marketing strategy that is very strongly based on direct response marketing. And basically what that means is that any marketing activity you do must elicit a direct response from the people who you are targeting to become your potential prospects and to become your potential clients. Direct response marketing is also very tightly linked to emotional marketing, which is based on the premise that people make their buying decisions based upon their emotions and based upon their feelings. So, for example, McDonald's, for example, does great marketing strategies around fast food. Okay, so the food's fast, it's fresh, and they get it to you pretty much immediately. And they give you different options for doing that. You can either go into the counter or inside the store, or you can go through the drive-through. Now, the emotion that they're actually relying on when they do that marketing is the emotion of not having any time and I need to move on pretty quickly. Give it to me quickly. Therefore, they're relying on your impatience to make their marketing work. So the second part of this is actually making sure that every marketing that we do is very much about value adding. So you'll notice with a lot of people who do quite a lot of marketing, you know when you're actually going to respond to them or not when you see that there are a few things sitting in there. One of the things that most people look for when they respond to a marketing campaign is typically if you're going to get a lot of value out of it. So I know when I open my mail or if I open my letterbox and I get some information through from someone, whether it's a brochure or a flyer or a sales letter, I start to look for what's going to be the most value adding for me. The other thing that I look for as well, and I don't know if you find the same thing, but is, can I trust you as opposed to somebody else? So what I want to do now is just get you to give me some indication about when you are in a buying mode, when you want to make a purchase for something, and I don't know, maybe the last thing that you ever purchased, what was it that you looked for when you made that decision to buy from someone? And if you can, you guys can just start to jot some things down again, that would be really useful so I can get some ideas about where you're at so far. Do you need it? Cool. We'll get some more coming through. What's the difference? What's the difference between one competitor or the next? Is probably a good question as well. I know I was chatting with a bookkeeper yesterday, and we were talking about the fact that there's so many bookkeepers out there that pretty much do the same thing. And I know when I was looking for a bookkeeper probably about 6 months ago or so, I had nothing in terms of when I was doing my research to be able to differentiate between one bookkeeper and the next. The only thing that I could make a decision based on was upon the price, and that was absolutely it. There was no point of difference. There was nothing that showed me how much extra value they had as opposed to the other. So it was really kind of a little bit lost in the dark. Yeah, absolutely. So I just want you to start, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I really want you to start thinking about, well, what's going to make you so much different from the next person? And when you are starting to target your market, what is it that they are starting to look for from you? If you can start to become someone who meets the needs of your market, then you are in a better position to be able to start solving the problem of your market and therefore start increasing your database. Are we cool so far? Just start plugging in, yep, gotcha, or no, you're making no sense at all. Cool, excellent. I'm getting yes and yeses, some yes, excellent, cool, beautiful. So I'm going to show you my screen and we'll flick forward. So when it goes through. So what are we going to have a look at today? We're going to look at 3 major areas in marketing which is going to help you get your clients to start beating a path to your door. The first one is niching. And what is a niche? A niche is a targeted and a specialized section of the market. So when you start to look at a niche, and the reason why we look at a niche is because it really starts to differentiate one business owner or one company from the next. It separates people who are sitting in the mainstream, like bookkeepers, for example, or it separates bookkeepers who start to specialize in the cash flow area. So you see there's 2 differences. There's either a bookkeeper doing mainstream stuff or bookkeeper with a speciality in helping you maximize your cash flow. So we're going to look at niching. The second thing we're going to look at is how do you become a problem solver and not and you can see that I've got insert your title here. So instead of being, let's say, a bookkeeper or a carpet cleaner or a business coach, for example, you need to start looking at how you can communicate what you do from the aspect of solving someone's problem. Because titles, really, they don't mean absolutely anything when you're talking to your market, and when you're starting to communicate to your market, we really need to make sure that you're actually letting them know what problems you solve for them. That again is going to start to differentiate you between the masses. The third thing that we're going to have a look at today is actually, you can see my emails coming up there, that's very funny, is looking at your client relationship management system. So how do you capture your list of prospects? So it's one thing to actually start to increase your database and increase the amount of people that's wanting to utilize your services, wanting to get their problem solved by you. But how exactly are you building that database? How exactly are you managing that database? So we're going to touch on that today. So there's obviously a lot more in those three aspects there, like niching, becoming the problem solver, looking at your client relationship management system, then in terms of what we can capture in the next 40 to 45 minutes. So I'm just going to go through fairly quickly. I'm going to give you what I think will be pretty useful for you today, and then I'll give you some access later on where you can get some more information to be able to utilize this yourself in a better fashion. The first thing I want to share with you though, before I get into niching, is actually looking at a killer marketing move that you can use for under 15 cents. So I'm pretty sure that most people out there well, actually I'll rephrase that. I know a lot of business owners who, when they think about doing marketing, they think it's going to cost them a hell of a lot of money. They're usually talking between the dollars of $300, $700 or so. Once you've gotten somebody to write the information or the copy on a marketing piece, once you've then got your printer to start printing it out onto different formats, whether it's flyers, whether it's brochures, whatever it might be, and then you've still got to pay someone to distribute them if it's going to be that mass offline marketing that you're going to be doing. So this can become pretty pricey, and I'm sure that a lot of you guys have actually looked down this path of marketing to get your name out there. But I want to let you know that there's a lot of different marketing strategies you can do that will pretty much cost you absolutely nothing. And before you think, oh, it must be email or online marketing, this strategy is not. There's a lot of great online marketing strategies that is out there that can generate a lot of leads within a short amount of time that is very effective, but that's not what I'm talking about today. What I want to share with you is probably one of my favorite marketing moves that will help you literally double your database within 90 days if you do this and you do it well. And what it's called a lead generator. So what a lead generator is it's basically something that you can use when you meet people who are curious, who are interested, or who are a little bit unsure about what it is that you do and they want to know more. It's for those people who think, hey, I really like what I've heard this person say. I'm not sure if I'm ready to buy the solution that they have, but I'm curious enough that I want to know more. Now, if you use this lead generator, what it's going to do, it's going to help you be able to start to press the buttons of their problem a little bit more so you can help them get to the point where they're going to start to ask more questions and you can start to give them more of your solutions. It takes away the pain of having to do the immediate sale. It takes away the discomfort of, that whole sales process that a lot of people are very unsure about, because, the reality is that a lot of us, when we get into business, we're coming into business because you've either got a really specialised skill or you have some specialised knowledge that other people don't have. And the truth is that not many of business owners out there have been trained in selling. Now that's something we're not going to do today, but I just wanted to highlight that by using a lead generator, it can take that discomfort out of trying to make a hard sell, for example, when you meet someone who's curious about what you do. The second thing that a lead generator does is it takes away the big dollars in having to get more clients. So we mentioned before about the costs and the pain incurred in writing sales copy for flyers or brochures, and then generating the cost for having to go and get a printer to write it up. The third thing the lead generator will do is it's going to give you a surefire way to build up your list of prospects. So how do you write a lead generator? What is it? It's really, really simple. It's as simple as writing a little report. It's as simple as writing a 1 or even a 3-page report on the 5 biggest tips to fill in the blanks with the solution to their problem. I know a gentleman who runs a cleaning business, and he does a lot of cleaning for corporate offices, and I was having a chat with him a couple of weeks ago about how he can start to use some different strategies to build his business. One of the things that he shared with me is that a lot of people in the corporate environment or even in the domestic environment either don't have the time to clean, don't don't we all know that? So they either don't have the time to clean or they don't know how to do it effectively, which is why they often just really they just don't do it. So I suggested to him to write what's called a lead generator. So what he started doing is he started putting together the 9 simple steps to cleaning your office. And then the strategy will be is that once this is completed, whenever he speaks or whenever he has a conversation with a referral or somebody who's interested in knowing a little bit more about his business, he can then give them or send them to his website to download a free copy of this document that he will have for them. Now, the beauty about this is that, again, it takes away the discomfort of trying to make a hard sell and close a sale there and then, because the reality is who says that they're ready to actually buy from you? Who says that they're ready to even purchase from anybody yet? They're just curious about what you do. The second thing is that it's going to help you get away from having to spend a lot of money. The third thing is it's going to really help you build a list of prospects. Because once you've got this lead generator that gives them immediate solutions to their problems, you're going to be able to start to instigate a bit of a relationship with them where not only are they relying upon you to help them solve their problem, but they are also someone who's starting to get familiar with you, and you are actually helping to build trust in them first and foremost. So before I move on to the next one, I just want to get your thoughts and of what you've learned so far, just to make sure we're on the right track here. So if I can get you guys to start putting in some posts about what it is you're noticing, what stands out for you the most, what you've learned, I'd really love to see some comments. Cool. I love it too. It's awesome. Excellent. Good. So I'm getting some comments coming in going, awesome, cool, loving the concepts. Yep, haven't heard this stuff before. All good. Excellent. So with the lead generator on my website, at the end of the session, I'm going to be able to give you the website link and you guys can go and check out some content for yourself, or I'll flick some stuff through to you just so you can get it everything what you need basically. Alrighty. So I'm going to show the screen up again. Alrighty-o, so moving right along. Okay, niching. Niching is probably one of my favorite concepts in marketing. Pardon me. It is such an underutilized concept, but yet once you do it, once you get your head around it, and once you start trialing and testing your niche, it makes the biggest difference in not only how effectively you can run your business, but how easier your business is. But most importantly, it makes a huge difference between getting clients or getting prospects who are curious about what you do to prospects who know exactly what you do and literally will start beating the path to your door to get what you have. So I'm going to make this a little bit more colorful for you, so just hang on there. On the screen there you can see I've written, are you just like the rest of them? And it's a pretty good question to ask, because this is the problem that I see when I speak to a lot of business owners, is that they'll go into the marketplace and they'll start to speak to a community or a market about how good their service or how good their product is. Now, that's all well and good if your product and service is really that great. But what happens when you're a part of a mainstream market? What happens when you're a carpet cleaner? Or what happens when you're a bookkeeper? Or what happens when you're a life coach? Or what happens when you sell health products? How then do you start to distinguish yourself between what everybody else is doing? It's a really good question. I don't know if you've ever asked yourself this before, and once you've started to build this into your language and build it into the solutions that you provide, you'll start to also find that the work that you do, the solutions you provide become a lot more targeted, they become a lot more specific, and they become a lot more useful for the community who you're speaking to. Just think about, this is actually probably a fairly decent example to use. Think about when you have a foot problem, for example. Let's say you've got really painful feet. I know, good example to use, so just excuse it. But if you've got a problem with your feet, do you go and see a general practitioner or do you go and see a podiatrist? A general practitioner will do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and they'll give anything a try that comes in front of them, basically. A specialist, on the other hand, has a very specialised skill. They have something that is highly in demand, which means that they will only treat you and solve a very specific problem. Now, with a GP, going back to a general practitioner, their list of services are extremely long. They will do anything from a head cold to a toe problem. Your wait time to see a GP isn't very long. You could probably call up today and get an appointment with the GP tomorrow or on Friday if you'd like. Whereas as opposed to a specialist, you're probably going to have to wait a few weeks, even a few months if you want to see them. A general practitioner's price point is a lot lower than the price point on a specialist. And I'm sure you all can probably relate to this. How much do you have to pay to go and see a specialist? It's a lot of money. What about the perception of a generalist? How many times have you perhaps actually missed an appointment with your doctor, not bothered to call them, and there was no consequences to pay? Whereas opposed to, what about your perception of how valuable the appointment time is with a specialist? It's a lot different, isn't it? The perception of being with a specialist is a lot more elite. If you missed an appointment with a specialist, you would probably have to wait another few weeks to a couple of months to get back in the door, plus you would probably have to pay for the appointment that you missed. So in just summing this bit up about niching, a niche really is a business that focuses on addressing the problem of a select market that is already not addressed by the mainstream. It's looking now at starting to take a smaller segment of the market that you have been in the past been looking at and starting to narrow it down so that your specialized skills, your intricate detail about what you can do for a particular problem becomes a lot more narrow. There's actually a saying, when you look at niching, you go for a market that is an inch wide and a mile deep, as opposed to a mile wide and an inch deep. So when you niche, the list and the database in the marketplace that you can actually start to tap into becomes a lot more fuller and becomes a lot deeper, and the level of service and solution you can provide becomes a lot more harnessed. So let me just check in to make sure that you guys are all cool so far. Give me an understanding about, just type in a few things about what you think niching is all about and how you might think it could possibly do a service to your business. Cool. Excellent. Cool. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Okey-dokey. So the next one I want to share with everybody is the concept around give them your solution to their problem. So we've just been speaking about niching. We've just been speaking about lead generation as well, remember, in our first segment. So on the screen there you can see what I've written. In marketing your business, you must zig when other people are zagging. What that means is that when everybody in your marketplace is running a particular kind of solution, when they're running a particular kind of campaign, when they're advertising in a certain way, you must not think that you have to do it exactly the same unless it's getting really awesome results. What I'm talking more about here is when we have problems that are out there in the marketplace that people are only giving one type of solution for. So I'll give you an example which is probably fairly relevant to a lot of people out there. If you think about, life coaches or business coaches or, accountants or brokers or anybody who do a specialized skill, to get the solution to your problem, you must go and see them one-on-one. For you to be able to have that problem gone away completely, you must go and see them one-on-one. When these industry bodies or when these businesses do their marketing and campaigning, it is all about come in and see me to get your solution or get your problem solved. It is all about come in for your complimentary session to get your problem solved. Now the question I have for you is, what about if you don't have the time to go and see them? What about if you're not too sure about what kind of solution they're going to give you, and really to take an hour out of your day might not be feasible? So what I would love to do is to get you to start thinking about excuse me, how you can start solving people's problems without them even being in the room with you. Start thinking about when you market your business, how can you communicate that you solve a problem that doesn't mean they have to give up their time to spend all day with you. I just want to share with you, I've got a, you can't actually see it, but I'll just read it out to you. I got a flyer in the mail today, and it was from a carpet cleaning company. And what they're actually advertising, they're basically trying to get more clients, obviously, who wouldn't? So what they're advertising is that you can get 3 rooms professionally cleaned for only $119, and then you get the 4th bedroom cleaned for free. They then say there's a 14-day satisfaction guarantee, and they promote the fact that you can walk on the carpets when it's dry, which is a big thing in the carpet cleaning industry because people don't want to get kicked out of their homes. And then their call to action is call us now on 13 blankety blank blankety blank. Now, right now I've got a couple of marks on my carpet floor, which is really annoying because I just got my carpets cleaned about 2 weeks ago, and now I've got this mark on one of my children's bedrooms floor. Now I saw this come in, and I went, well, hang on a second, I don't need my entire room cleaned. I actually only need a small portion of my carpet cleaned. Wouldn't it be great if these guys, instead of saying call us now to basically book an appointment in, wouldn't it be fantastic if these guys said, hey, call us now and get a free report to how to clean your own carpets? Just something simple. What would that do, you ask? Well, it's going to solve my problem because obviously if I'm stopping to read this brochure, I'm somebody who's considering that I need to get my carpets cleaned. But the second thing that it does is that it gives me the option to kind of dip my toe in the water a little bit, test out what their solutions are like, and it gives them the opportunity to start educating me and start building more trust between me and them. But right now, the only solution I have is to pretty much ignore the mark on the floor that is still there, or I have to go into the shopping centre and have a look at the thousands of different types of carpet cleaning solutions that are there and try and find which one's the one for me. But hey, what if these guys actually gave me the solution? Because really, they are the carpet cleaning specialists. What if they had to give me a solution? How then would my perception of them be different? They would already have me starting to say yes to them, which is very important, and I'll share with you more a little bit later. But they would already start to be building a sense of familiarity between me and their business. For them, they would start to be positioning themselves as very high value because, again, they're giving me an immediate solution to my problem. And you know what? Probably in about 3 months' time or 6 months' time when I need to get my carpets cleaned again, I would probably pick up the phone to call them because they're starting to build that sense of familiarity and trust with me. So this is what I mean. When I say give them your solution to their problem, don't make it about somebody having to see you to only get the solution. Start to think about how you can start to solve their problem without you even being in the room. This is really going to give you a sense that your business will start to be able to generate more leads, because again, we're talking about how can you get more clients beating a path to your door. If you can start to provide this, it means that people are going to become more familiar with your business. It means that people are going to start to trust your business a lot more. And it means that people are going to start to have you in the forefront when they think about the solutions that your business provides. So moving on to the third one. So I hope you guys can all see that. So the third point is about forget about getting a client. So I know you're probably going, what do you mean forgetting about getting a client? That's what my business is based upon. And I know that. And I know how important it is to get a client. But what I also know is that it's probably more important, actually it's not probably more important, it is more important to get your prospects' names in your system. So instead of looking out there, where can I find a client, where can I find a client, start thinking about how do I get the clients' names in here? How do I get more people's names in my database? Okay? How do I start getting more prospects' details in my email database so I can start educating them? And that's really, really important, because already we've spoken about writing lead generators and how you can start to educate your people through little reports. We've spoken about niching, how you can start to, how you specialize in a particular area that targets a direct problem in your market. Then we've looked at how do you give them a solution to their problem. Now we're talking about once you've done all of that and you've got their details, how can you then start to build that and start to educate them? Now I'm sure you can imagine there's 1,001 ways that this can probably be done. But I really want you to start getting your minds away from looking at getting a client to how you can start to actually educate them a little bit more effectively. And it builds on from the point we were talking about before, which was if you solve their problem, you become someone who they trust. So what I want you to think about is when you need to buy let's pretend that you need to buy a big ticket item, like perhaps a piece of furniture, for example. What are some of the processes that you go through? So you'd probably start to think about, well, hang on a second, I actually need to start looking at getting some furniture, okay, because it's either becoming too uncomfortable to sit on, or you don't have any furniture, or it's broken and it looks unsightly. So you get to the point where you go, no, enough's enough, I'm not ignoring the problem anymore, I need to now start looking for something different. Then you would probably start the process of researching. Where is it that I can find some furniture? Once you've found a range of places, whether it is you shop online and you check it out before you go in, I know that's what I do because I hate shopping. So whether it's you start looking online at different businesses that might have what you want, you may then start to go out directly to those businesses so you can see for yourself what that's like. You might then start compiling different brochures for each people from each business. You'll probably ask some questions. You might even write some notes down, or you might even buy it straight away, or perhaps you'll take it back and have speak to your partner or your parents or whoever it is about it, and then you'll make the purchase, perhaps. The point I'm trying to make is that there's a process that most people go through before they spend money. Now, if it's a big ticket item, the process is probably a little bit longer than a small ticket item. However, the point here is that regardless of whatever amount of dollars you're spending, there must be a process that you have to know that you are confident that you trust the people to give you the solution to your problem that you're about to spend your money on. And what that's called, it's called the educational spectrum. The educational spectrum is based on the premise that when somebody begins the process of considering to make a purchase, they go through a spectrum of building their trust before they actually spend their money with you. So if you go back to that example of the furniture that we were talking about, point one is when you finally get fed up with not having the furniture or not liking the furniture that you have. The point at which you buy is later down the track, at least once you've become trustworthy, once you find that they are trustworthy enough that you can give them your money. So when people start to talk about, I need to get another client, what they're failing to acknowledge, and I totally get this because how would you know unless you know, but what we need to start to acknowledge and what we need to get to the forefront of your mind is that if people, you know that people might need your services, but they might not be at the point where they are ready to buy. The conversations you might have with people who are interested in the solution that you have might not be a conversation with someone who's ready to buy right now. And that's why a lot of people often get disheartened. They often end up closing their businesses down before they've even made any money, or they sometimes don't even spend even long enough to get it off the ground because they say, well, you know, it's just too hard to get a client. Well, it's not true. The fact is that you need to look at it as a process of educating people about the solutions that you provide. And once you can start to get their contact details, you can start educating them about the solution you can give them so that at the point when they are ready to hand over money, it is you who they trust the most. Because really, isn't it more about having people who are hungry for what you do for them because they already are confident and they are already familiar with the things that you do. So when it comes time for them to literally hand over the money because they want you to start working on them for their business, they are totally, totally sold on the things that you can do for them. So I want to do a little bit of a check-in here. So if I can start to get some comments coming in about what you're kind of hearing so far, what you're liking so far, some of the things that you could probably do yourself to start building this process, I would love for you to let me know. It would be really good if I could bring up the chat screen. Oh, I cracked myself up. Yep. Cool. Beautiful. So, ding, 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 ding. Where are we at? So, let me... Teresa, you're online, my darling. How about you come off mute and we have a bit of a chat about where you're at so far.
Hello.
Hello, my darling. How are you?
Very good. How
cool.
are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you, my dear. Good, thank you. So what have you learnt so far about what we've spoken about today and how to start building your database and having them beat a path to your door?
I mean, the educational spectrum, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Just to get in early and before you get the whole, oh, no, I'm just browsing type thing,
Yes.
and they won't want to come back to you.
Yeah, exactly. Because how frustrating is that?
Yeah, very.
I know. And tell me, what are your thoughts about how you could possibly use the lead generator idea in your educational spectrum?
So posting up things on my website and then for them to actually access that lead generator aspect or product.
Yep.
Like,
sorry, go ahead.
Their details, like their email address and stuff, and then that helps you.
Perfect. And how do you see it, would that make it easier for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
Because I'd be constantly in contact with that person, or I've still got that link with them.
Yeah. Yep. Do you find that you've had experiences where you've actually lost leads or lost prospects because you didn't have a system of being able to maintain them in a database or even have a database?
Yeah, I have actually.
Yeah, isn't that a bugger? So
I know.
yeah, cool. All right, cool. Well, thanks for just hopping on. I just thought I'd probably get a bit of a touch in because I hate sitting here just talking and not knowing where you're at.
Feeling a little bit alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Cool.
Love
All
and
right.
all, trust me.
Thank you, my darling. All right, so you know how to unmute yourself, so I'll let you do that.
Yep.
Alrighty, cool bananas. So we'll move on. So we've gone through niching, we've gone through educational spectrum and how to help people solve their problems, and we've looked at as well about forgetting about trying to get a client and instead starting to educate your database. So what I want to do is I want to pose this question for you just before we wrap up. So, and it's not, you don't necessarily need to do it now, but the question is, how could you step it up a notch to deliver solutions to people before you actually get into the room? So again, going back to what we were speaking about before, instead of them having to come to you to get the solution and paying the big bucks to see you because you specialise now, because we're all niching these days, how can they actually get the solution before they get into the room with you? And what I want to do is I want to give you some ideas about what you can use to help you become a better problem solver. Some ideas that you can use to help do your lead generator. That's actually going to make life a lot easier for you, and it's going to help you capture some more leads. I'm going to post this up on my website as well, so don't stress too much about writing it down frantically because you'll actually get the link for it. So one thing you can do is start to, like I said before, write reports. Okay? Reports is probably the easiest way to be able to get to maintain a lead generator or to be able to build a lead generator. So that's one. Second one is you can do things like write white papers, which is basically a long version of a report that gives a lot more content to it. Thirdly, you can start to look at doing audios and putting things on CDs. If you like, if that's what your market is looking for, you can deliver some content just like we're kind of doing here today. Record your voice and just pop it onto a CD, and then you can give those out when you go to network meetings or just always carry one on you. You've got DVDs, you can do the same thing, record yourself a video on the web or do it via YouTube, or just put a video camera on you wherever you are, pop it onto DVD if you've got more of a training style. I know the gentleman I was telling you about before who does commercial cleaning, he's now talking about actually doing videos of him cleaning and popping onto DVD and then using that as his lead generator. Then you've got things like podcasts, you can do MP3s, you can write newsletters, you could do brochures. That's easy to do yourself. You can easily do it through software on your computer and then print it off yourself with really good printing paper. Blog spots that you can do online, using your website to deliver really awesome content, and then you can direct people to that. So look, there's so many different things that you could do to be able to build a lead generator that costs you absolutely diddly squat. Like I said, less than 15 cents to be able to build your lead generator, and that way you've always got something that you have to be able to give someone immediately or send them to your website. I know a favourite one of mine is to actually have a CD where I record content on it, and on there, just pop your website address on it so they get the CD immediately, so they immediately get a solution to your problem, but then it's also got an online site where you can direct them to another membership site or another website or so where they can enter in their details, and then they still get more content from you. So you're just building this really big hub around education and building familiarity around what it is that you do. So before we get off the phone, I actually want to just give you guys some good ideas where you can actually start to generate high quality leads, and this is more around looking at where do these people congregate. Okay, so I know it becomes to get very interesting when you look at your niche and you start to go, wow, well that's where I can start to specialize in. Now where do I find them? So I want to give you at least, I've got at least 22 ideas here, but what I'll also do is I'll pop this up on the website so you don't have to frantically write it all down. But I'll give you probably about 7 of my favorite ones from here. So remember, this is looking at once you've got your niche sorted out or you're starting to build your niche, once you've started to write your lead generators and you've got something for them that's going to solve their problem, and then you start to think about how can I get their names into my database, then we need to look at where can you find them. So this is just a list of some of my favorite ones. You've got breakfast meetings. You've got networking groups. There's industry associations. You have industry-based magazines. You know, whether you are more prone to doing franchise work, there's the Franchise Council magazines, or there's there may be some type of event magazines. There may be cleaning magazines, health magazines, that type of thing. Good old ads in the local shopping centre or in the community hall. They never go astray. And then for those who really want to play ball, there's things like product launches. I've got a client right now who every 2 weeks she runs product launches from her home, which is actually a home/open garden, and she's had a lot of success doing that. She has about a 50% turn-up rate from all the invitations that she sends out, and then from there she's having about a 50% conversion rate for new people signing up to purchase her products. So that seems to be going really well because she's really started targeting who her niche is and delivering really value-adding content. So that becomes something that's really useful. The other really cool one that I'm liking doing at the moment, and I know there's a lot of people as well that's having a lot of success and generating a lot of leads, is actually going onto the social online media. Now that's a whole other ball game, but you know, you've got things like joining forums, looking into where people who would need your services or your solution, where are they hanging out online? Because the best niches to be in are those where they are congregating or where you can target them directly because you know where they're going to be. So that's why magazines are great, because people will read industry-based magazines. That's why networking groups are great, because they are highly specialised, and that's why social media is great, because there's a lot of forums and blog spots where your niche is actually congregating to have a chat, to get solutions to their problem, and to get support from each other. So if you can start to become the solution provider for the problem that people in your niche have, then you really are going to stand to be a lot more different from people in your market. You are going to be the person that starts to zig when other people are zagging, and you're really going to position yourself to become and to be the expert in your field when others are really just kind of swimming in the mainstream. So look, I hope that really helped you, and because I know you've taken out at least an hour of your time today, I just want to give you some cool stuff just because I like to. So cool stuff for you. So what I'm going to do, I've actually got I've got my own Small Business Solutions online site where my members can actually get a lot more marketing and sales strategies. What I want to do is give you a month for free so you can check it out and get some more information on things like how you can accelerate, how you can become the trusted advisor so you can start to have more clients beating a path to your door. I'm also going to organise a free audio of this seminar for you, so you can either download it straight away or I'll flick you out a CD in the mail. Plus I'm going to send you out a sneak peek at one of the tactical strategies I really love to use that helps to take your ideas from just a nice to have to it's done. So the way that you can get this is, where do I get all the cool stuff? Is if you go to www.mysmallbusinesssuccess.com, just pop in your details and we'll literally do the rest of the work for you so you can get all that cool stuff that we promised. So thanks very much for joining us on the call today. I'm hoping and I am promising that at least if you try one of these strategies, there is no way that your business will stay in the same place as it is today, because it can absolutely be in a different place tomorrow if you just take action and do this kind of stuff for your business. All right, thanks everybody, and I'll leave you to it. Ciao for now.